Hi, this is Eddie Deezen. You're listening to Breaking the Fourth Wall. I was Mandark in Dexter's Laboratory. Ha 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 ha.
You are listening to Breaking the Fourth Wall on Realm of the Mist Entertainment. Hello everyone and welcome to another episode. Today I'm joined by a very prestigious guest, someone who I'm sure everyone my age probably knows, definitely by his voice. And after this, you're going to know him by name too. This guy's incredible and I'm very honored to have him here today. Mr. Eddie Deezen, how are you today, sir?
Very well, Ray. Thank you. And thank you so much for your kind words. I appreciate it. I'm doing very well. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. Just got home and I'm so excited for this interview. I've been waiting for this since I talked to you last week, so I'm super excited. Let's jump right on into it. And can you tell the listeners what you're most known for, what you're famous for?
I would say probably Grease. I'm usually the guy from Grease. You know, Grease was my very first movie. Even though I have a very small role in it, I think I have 3 lines in it. I get hit in the face with a pie. I walk down the stairs, and the T-Birds rough me up, and you see me bouncing around in the dance scene. But Grease is probably just because of the scope of Grease, you know.
Right.
Usually when a person does their first film, it's usually a turkey, you know, usually small budget. Grease, I lucked out. Grease was like, you know, it's kind of like Wizard of Oz caliber, that kind of movie. So I did luck out. Then I had a lot of bad ones saved up for later, though.
Well, I mean, obviously, anybody who remembers that movie would remember you, because you do get pretty front and center there during the dance scene, if I recall properly.
Yeah, making my geeky moves, yeah.
Yeah, and you were also part of a few smaller ones, too, that I feel like they were just as good, but they kind of went under the radar, like 1941. That was a good one.
1941 is kind of a cult film, and it has cachet because of Spielberg, the Spielberg name, and also John Belushi, you know, because sadly John left us with so few films. Such a talented guy. I think he only did like 6 or 7 movies, which is a shame. He could have done some really, he did a real classic, of course, is Animal House, but he could have done some really great films, but unfortunately, that's what happened.
Yeah, and you've done some voiceover work too, right?
Yeah, I did voiceover in Polar Express. You can see me in Polar Express, which will probably be playing soon because it's getting to be the holiday season soon. And it plays through the holidays. You'll see it on TBS or other channels. But yeah, that was a fun one. I got to work with Tom Hanks, so that was definitely, not only is he my favorite movie star, but he's the nicest guy in the world. Everything you've heard about Tom Hanks is true. He's actually that great of a guy. So
nice.
that was really a fun project.
Speaking of Polar Express, aren't you gearing up to do something with that here soon?
Yes, thank you for bringing that up. I'm doing a national tour. It starts November 14th. I'll be touring around the country. I'm going to West Virginia. Where are you located at, Ray?
I'm up here in upstate New York.
Okay, let me see. I don't think we're coming to New York, unfortunately. I wish I could see it. Too bad. But we're going to West Virginia, Maryland, California, Florida, Texas, I know. No, I guess we're not coming to New York, unfortunately. Shoot.
That's all right.
We'll get you next year. Hopefully I'll be doing this every year. But I'm looking forward to it. We're having a Polar Express promotional tour on trains, and we're going to ride the trains around, see the kids. I'll be making appearances, meet and greets, and signing pictures for free. So that will be, we start in Fillmore, California, actually. November 14th is the first one in Ventura County. Then on to Dallas, Texas State Fair, Dallas-Fort Worth, Pittsburgh, West Virginia, Western Maryland, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, no New York, unfortunately. Shoot.
That's all right.
We'll get them next year.
Yeah, that sounds like a pretty full trip, though. I mean, sounds like you're going around to some pretty big places.
Yeah, it'll be fun. I'm looking very forward to it. I always loved the train as a kid. I like riding the train. And, you know, people hardly, you know, it's almost like archaic. You know, nobody ever talks about the train anymore. You never see trains in movies anymore hardly.
Right.
But they are fun. Trains are, I guess we're such a plain society, you know.
Planes, trains, and automobiles.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's great. I'm so glad that you're still getting around and doing that kind of stuff. I mean, you didn't just let that, I was in that movie that one time and then just let it go. You're still really into it and making it happen and bringing that joy to people, because Polar Express really is a great movie for the holiday season.
Oh, thank you. I'm Jewish, you know, Ray, but it was always one of my dreams to do a Christmas movie because I love Christmas movies. I love watching them every year. Mr. Magoo's Christmas Carol and all that. How the Grinch Stole Christmas, the original.
Yeah.
I love that stuff. I love all that stuff. I love what's the one with the Scrooge? A Christmas Carol. I love that. All the versions of that. So Polar Express kind of fit in with that. When I first saw Polar Express, I was really disappointed. It looked so weird. And I went to the premiere and I ran out of the theater. I was actually crying, and I went on the bus and I rode home. I left halfway through, and I was crying on the bus. It looked so bad. And this African American gentleman, I never saw him before or since, but he comes up and goes, "What's the matter, son?" I go, "I was in this movie with Tom Hanks. It's called The Polar Express, and it's terrible. I just saw it." He goes, "Oh no, son, I heard that's a good movie. Polar Express is a good movie." So he kind of cheered me up. Then I saw it later, a couple weeks later, with my girlfriend. I saw it in a new unit of time, and I went to a screening. I go, "This isn't a bad film." And then it's really grown on me. It really is a beautiful film. I thought it would be different when we were filming it. I thought it would be more of a comedy. It's definitely not a comedy.
Right.
It's just a good Christmas movie.
Yeah, my kids love it. So, I mean, you got to be doing something right, because kids these days have the attention spans of goldfish. So,
exactly. Well, tell them I said hi. Tell them I said Merry Christmas.
I'll do that here in a couple months. We got to make it through Halloween first.
Yeah.
No, but that's great. That's fantastic. What was it that made you decide that you wanted to get into acting?
I kind of didn't fit into anything else, Ray. I was kind of a ne'er-do-well in high school, kind of a goofball. Not only couldn't I do any of the subjects, I couldn't find any of the classrooms. I was so lost in school, totally lost. And then I just decided to come out here. My dad was a very nice man. He was a very generous man. He would send me $400 a month, which at that time, you're talking the mid-'70s, 1975, 76, 77.
Mm-hmm.
He sent me $400 a month, and that paid for my rent and my bills. Dad was a very nice man, and he paid for that stuff, so that kept me going. And then I lucked out. I did the old Gong Show. I don't know if you remember that with Chuck
I
Berry.
do.
That was my
I
first
do
gig.
remember that.
Yeah, I did that. I got gonged by Paul Williams telling jokes. And then I got Grease. I lucked out, and that got me in the union.
Oh, wow. Okay, there you go. It sounds like you just kind of made a decision and went with it.
Yeah.
That's
I kind of
cool.
lucked out in the way, because you know how hard it is to get started in the business. There's the catch-22. You can't get in the union unless you work, and you can't work unless you're in the union. So we have that terrible catch-22. You have to beat it somehow. And luckily, I beat it getting in Grease.
That's amazing. Do you have any advice for people that are just starting out in this, that are wanting to do it?
You know what I say, Ray? I usually give this. People ask me that all the time. How do I get in the business? What's your advice? And I usually go to this story James Garner gave. James Garner, the guy from the Rockford Files, and he was a great actor, a good-looking guy,
Uh-huh.
But he said when he started the business, his father said, give it 5 years, because you're starting in it. He goes, give it 5 years, give it everything you've got. Buy pictures, spend all your money on, promoting yourself. He goes, if you don't get anything in 5 years, you probably don't have it, he goes. And also 5 years is not that big of a portion of a person's life. If you spent 5 years and you fail at it, you could say, I gave it my best, it didn't work out, and you can go on and make a new career, So I usually say, try the 5-year rule, do that. Now, it doesn't always work. Like, for instance, my friend, the soup Nazi, Larry Thomas, he was on Seinfeld, he was a soup Nazi. He was in the business like 25, he was in the business 25 years before he got the soup Nazi bit, So it doesn't always work, but that's the advice I give. I go, give it 5 years. One of the saddest things is you'll see these people in the business, 40 years and all, and they've never done anything. They've been an actor and actress for 40 years, and they never got a movie or something.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of the sad side of it. But it's just supply and demand. There's just so many people. Not everybody can work. It's just not possible number-wise.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. Everybody's trying to do it nowadays.
Exactly.
With everything that you've done, have you done any kind of like convention work, or have you gone to conventions?
Oh yes, I do signing shows all the time. Yeah, I do 2 or 3 every year. Chiller Theater's the big one I do in New York, but I've done a lot of signing shows. I've been doing them for like 30 years. I do 2 or 3 every year, and they're a pleasure. I've never met mean people once there. All the fans are nice. These are real movie people. They're really into it, and they come to talk movies and discuss them. And Grease was my favorite movie. Blah blah. My wife and I, the first one we saw together on our first date was Polar Express. Or War Games. And War Games. That's why I got into computers. That's why I'm a computer salesman right now.
Oh man,
War Games. And, they'll tell you these sweet stories. Yeah.
War Games. That's a name I haven't heard since, been a while.
War Games was a good one. Ronald Reagan, President Reagan, changed the computer system of America because of that movie. He watched War Games. He screened it at the White House, and he saw how easy it was to break into our computer system. So he changed our security system in America because of that movie. It's a true story.
Wow, that's a good story. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Dang. Do you have any stories that about crazy fans or anything like that from a convention?
Well, I'll tell you a great story. This isn't necessarily crazy, but it's a very insightful story. This is a story I had at a signing show, and I always like to tell it because it taught me a lesson in life I've never forgot. Okay, I'm at a signing show. I'm at Chiller Theater in New York. Anyway, are you a Beatles fan? Do you know about the Beatles?
I do, yeah.
Okay, well, Pete Best, you know him. He was the original Beatles drummer before Ringo.
Right.
Yeah, okay, I was signed in by Pete Best. Pete Best loved the movie I did called I Want to Hold Your Hand. It was his favorite movie. So Pete and I sat together for 3 days, and we signed there. Anyway, I'm there. Adam West is there, Batman and Rob, and I talked to them. I was a real big shot. Barbara Eden, my biggest crush, my fantasy girl, was there. You know, I was mingling with her. All these celebrities were there. It was a huge show. Okay, and I really was getting full of myself. You know, I made, you know, a couple $1,000. I thought I was a real hot shot. Anyway, one day in this convention, this guy comes up. This guy was the geek of all time. He comes up. He looked like Jerry Lewis as the Nutty Professor, but he looked worse. He had on a greasy shirt and his tie was askew and all. He literally had buck teeth.
Oh,
he
wow.
had glasses. He just was this greasy-looking geek. This guy was the loser of all time. I go, Jesus, what's this loser do? And I think to myself, okay, be friendly. You know, this guy's paying you money for your autograph. Be friendly, da-da-da. So the guy goes, I do an autograph. He talks kind of like that. You know, he kind of slurred his words. Yeah, sure. I'm real patronizing. I signed my autograph. Geez, what is this geek want? You know, da-da-da. So I signed the autograph. So anyway, I signed the autograph. Oh, thank you, da-da-da. So he beckons me in with his finger. He calls me with his finger. He crooks his finger at me, you know, like, come here, come closer. So what does this geek want with me? I go, okay, look, he's a customer. Listen to what he wants to tell you. So I leaned in my head real patronizing, hear what this geek wants to say. So he goes, this is what he told me. He goes, when I was in high school and the other kids wanted to make fun of me, they used to call me Eddie Deezen. The irony of the story is so hitting, and I never forgot the lesson of that story, is that you're not really superior to anybody. We're all just one, you know. There's nice people, there's bad people and all, but don't go feeling superior to anybody else. Be careful of that. You're not superior to anybody. You're not better than anybody. We're all pretty much the same, and you should treat everybody the same. No matter how they look or whatever, you treat everybody the same. Treat them with human decency. That story I never forgot. That happened 14 years ago, and I never forgot that story.
That really is kind of a life lesson story.
Yeah.
But that had been a bittersweet story. Oh, well, you know, this guy got picked on
No, it
being
just
called
affected
me,
I
but
never
at the
forgot
same
it.
time,
It hit me. It caught me by surprise, you know. It just really caught me by surprise.
yeah.
And I looked at the guy in a whole different way.
Well, as long as you learn something, right?
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yep, you're never too old. You're right.
You've done quite a few different roles in different genres and things like that. What would you say your favorite genre is?
Well, I like doing movies. Movies are so much fun, but I have a hard time remembering lines, so that's why I shifted into voiceovers. So I started doing voiceovers in the early 90s because of that. Like when I did my scene in War Games, I kept screwing up. War Games, I had the scene, you know, how to get in the computer maze room, and I go through Falcon's maze, and it's a new data encryption algorithm. Anyway, I kept screwing up that line. I kept going, it's a new data endocrine algorithm. Cut. It's a new data endocrine algorithm. Cut. It's a new data endocrine algorithm. Cut. I kept screwing it up.
Oh,
so
man.
the director, Marty Bress, was my director there. Marty got fired later, and John Badham took over. But luckily, they left my scene in there. But it was the only scene of Marty's they left it. I think he directed for like 12 days. Anyway, Marty goes, we're going to take a walk around the lot. He goes, look, you're costing the studio a lot of money. You keep screwing up. I'm sorry, I can't remember the lines. He goes, we're going to write your lines down on these cue cards. They're called idiot cards. And he kind of pronounced idiot. He goes, these are idiot cards. He said it kind of harshly.
Yeah.
He wanted me to get it right. So anyway, they write my lines down. I did the next scene. Da-da-da-da. Oh, it's the data encryption algorithm. I read it off the card. It was real easy. I go, this is great. So I read the whole thing. I did it in like one take. It was a great deal. So then I realized this is great. And then I realized you get into voiceovers. Voiceovers is you just get a script and you just read it. You know, for any real actor, voiceovers are a piece of cake.
Right.
So I started doing voiceovers shortly after that. And I did a lot of cartoons. I did Dexter's Laboratory and a lot of different cartoons. No, it's just voiceovers are a great racket.
Right. And that was another thing that you were very well known for, I would say. And that's what I was alluding to at the beginning about maybe recognizing the voice but not knowing the name, is you voiced Mandark in Dexter's Laboratory.
Yeah, I was Mandark.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. We did it for like 6 or 7 years.
Yeah, that was a long-running antagonist role, and quite honestly, he's probably one of the best villains that I've seen.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much, Ray.
Yeah, you did very well with that one. Now, you did play a villain before. I would like to point out in a movie called Surf 2.
Surf 2, I was Menlo Schwartzer, right? I was the bad guy. That's when I think I had 2 films I got top billing. That's one of the few. I got top billing in that. I got top billing in Mob Boss, I think. But yeah, Surf 2 is a fun movie.
Yeah.
Linda Carriage, I don't know whatever happened to her, but she was a beautiful girl. She was my co-star.
Yep.
She was wonderful. She was lovely. Kind of a Marilyn Monroe type. She's either British or Australian, I don't know, but she was just lovely. And yeah, I wonder whatever happened to Linda. She was fun, but a lot of bikini girls. It was fun doing that, and nice actors on the set. Yeah, Morgan Paul was in that. Peter Isaacson, a lot of great people.
Oh, what was that line that you said? Buzz Cola gets them every time.
Cola gets him every time. Yeah, I remember that. Yep.
That was great. That was good stuff.
Oh, thank you.
And your big, I want to call it a big break, because I heard from a mutual friend of ours that you had told him at one point that you finally made it when your stuff ends up on MST3K.
Oh,
Mr.
yeah,
Science
exactly.
Theater.
Yeah. Right.
I heard
that was so much better than the movie. They did a takeoff of Laser Blast, which was the second film I did right after Grease. And it is so much better than the movie Laser Blast. Their version is so much funnier and more clever. They really barbecued me in it, but it was definitely funny.
Yeah, it was. We could go on and on. You've done so many things, but it's some stuff I never even realized. One of the more recent things that I just realized, because I have 3 kids, and I don't mean to tell a story about myself, but for a second here, I've got 3 kids, and they enjoyed a show called Star versus the Forces of Evil, and I did not know that you voiced some of the characters in that show, no matter how briefly it was there. And after going back and rewatching it again, I heard it was clear as day, like there was your voice. How did I miss that the first time?
Oh, well, thank you.
So, I gotta say, congratulations. You've had a long and illustrious career, in my opinion. I think you are a fantastic actor, and I love your voiceover stuff. You've got that voice that just really stands out and sticks in your memory.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it, Ray.
Yeah.
I appreciate those kind words. They mean a lot to me. Thank you.
Yeah. So this next part, we're like my shows usually go for about 30 minutes, and the last 5 minutes or so I like for you to be able to say where people can find you on social media and things like that, but we're not quite there yet.
Sure.
We still got time for one more story. And like I said, you can answer it as much or as little as you want, or you can say, Ray, I hate you, don't talk about that. But
okay.
I heard from a little birdie that you had a smooch fest with a certain somebody.
Had a what fest? I'm sorry?
A smooch fest. You.
Oh, Tanya Harding?
Wow, drop that one right out there.
Tanya, I've had 2 great kissing fests. One was Tanya Harding. I did that Chiller Theater I was talking about, 2005. Tanya was there. Now, Tanya went through, she wasn't getting a lot of customers. She was kind of like a villain. She was kind of perceived as a villain at that time. That was shortly after the Nancy Kerrigan thing, I think it was a few years after that. But she was kind of lonely, and I went over to her and we talked. We just started talking, and I perceived she was lonely. And, one thing led to another. We started making out, and she's a great kisser. We made out a lot, then we later exchanged pictures. She gave me your autographed picture, and I gave her mine. And I remember guys came up to her, hey, where's Tanya's picture? They're like, they're going to break my legs if I don't get it. So I quickly signed a picture for her. But she was a great kisser, and it was fun making out with her. She was very sweet. My other one that I made out with was Morgan Fairchild. I did a movie called Mob Boss with Morgan Fairchild.
Uh-huh.
And there's the scene in it, where the pretty girl kisses the nerdy guy, and then she moves away, and his glasses are steamed up, with smoke. And we did that gag. Morgan kisses me, and my glasses was smoke. So anyway, Morgan turns to me before we do the scene. She asked me the easiest question of my life. She goes, do you want to rehearse? So I'm like, oh my God, Morgan Fairchild wants to rehearse making out. So we rehearsed her, and Morgan was a great kisser too. Morgan was a delight to work with. I loved working with her. She was such a nice girl, great comedian, great straight woman. She was just wonderful at comedy. And we did the make-out scene. We did a lot of scenes together. She was great. She had me to her dressing room once for lunch. She was just, I think she was lonely, and she had me in a room, and she told me her whole life story, and it was just very beautiful. She's a very lovely lady.
That's great. Those are some awesome stories.
Well, thank you.
So if a director were to come up to you and say, I'm going to direct whatever movie you want to be in, what movie would that be?
Oh, what a great question. My God, I don't know. My favorite movie is A Hard Day's Night with the Beatles. That's my all-time favorite movie, but I don't know how I'd fit into that. But maybe a movie kind of like that, a silly, goofy movie, just cut short scenes, and funny takes, all funny jokes, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I mean, that definitely seems in your wheelhouse. I mean, even in 1941 on the Ferris wheel, that was pretty pretty out there, pretty silly.
Oh yeah, it was
But
fun.
it was a great scene. I mean, I heard that you like to mess with people in that movie.
A little bit. I got my big story about that one was I got to throw up in Spielberg's toilet. I threw up in Steven Spielberg's
Oh,
toilet.
I
Steven had
hadn't
us on
heard
the
that
Ferris
one.
wheel, Murray and I. I'm sorry?
I said I hadn't heard that one.
Yeah, Murray and I, Murray Hamilton, my partner, he was the mayor in Jaws, Murray was a great guy, but we were in the movie. We spend the whole movie on Ferris wheel with my dummy. I'm a ventriloquist, and my dummy's up there with, so the three of us are up there. Anyway, one day Steven was whipping us around real fast. He just kept whipping us around. I got sick. I go, could you please stop? I'm getting sick. I got a bad stomach. So Steven let me down. He said, my secretary, take you in my dressing room. Go lie down. So Steven's secretary took me into his room, and I laid down in his cot in his dressing room.
Uh-huh.
Then I got real sick. I crawled on my hands and knees. I went to the bathroom, and I threw up in the toilet. I was so sick.
Oh,
Then
no.
the significance hit me. I go, I just threw up in Steven Spielberg's toilet. And I realized this is one of the highlights of my life. Even though it was a miserable day, it was a highlight of my career.
That's amazing. You have some awesome stories. I'm sure you probably
Well,
have
thank you.
1,000 more like that, don't you?
Here and there, yeah. You just work in the midst with these great people, and the stories just come up. Yeah.
Well, I mean, you're obviously, if you're working with these great people and you've had so many roles, you must be a great person yourself. So that should
Well,
be
thank you.
that should be
Thank you very
another
much.
lesson. Yeah. I mean, I only speak the truth on my show, so
Well,
we
thank
got
you.
we got to keep it real. But as we're approaching the end of the show here, time tends to fly when you're having fun, as it were.
Sure.
Can you just, if you want to, run down
Mhm.
and let people know where they can go to kind of follow your events, like social media, if you happen to know
social
where.
media. I'm a Facebook nut, Ray. I'm a Facebook nut. I'm on Facebook every day. I post every day. My jokes, quotes of the day, trivia. I have whose birthday it is, all that kind of stuff, who died on this day.
Oh,
But I post
wow.
every day on Facebook. I love Facebook, and I'm a Facebook nut, so you can see me there every day.
That's cool. That's good to know.
Yeah.
And are you on any of the other crazy social medias that are out there right now?
No, pretty much just Facebook.
Okay.
Pretty much just Facebook for me. Yeah.
I'm actually pretty surprised at how many times I hear that, and most people are just kind of getting into just one thing and sticking there. So that's good. It's nice to not have to look for you everywhere. You're in one spot with all of your stuff right
Yeah.
there. So
Facebook,
that's
you'll
cool.
find me right there.
So is there anywhere that people can follow the goings-ons with the Polar Express tour?
Yeah, here it is, Ray. It's called the Polar Express Train Ride Promotional Tour 2019. You can Google that.
Okay.
The Polar Express Train Ride Promotional Tour 2019. See all the cities we'll be appearing at. The tour starts November 14th in Fillmore, California, heading to Dallas, Fort Worth, going to Pittsburgh, going to Cumberland, Maryland, my hometown. I get to have Thanksgiving with my family, so that'll be nice.
Oh, that's
Fort
awesome.
Lauderdale on to Orlando, and then Paris, California is the last stop. Yeah, December 13th.
Right on.
Yeah.
And
So please, check in that. If you're anywhere near there, please drop by. I'd love to see you. The pictures are free. I'm signing free pictures, and it's just a meet and greet for me. They're going to have, the shows. I'll have, like, the guys that pour hot chocolate. Those guys will be dancing, and
yeah.
I'll have the cast members there, but I won't be that. I do a meet and greet, and I just sign free pictures, and I'll be talking to the fans. So this is going to be a joy for me. It'll just be my pleasure.
So anybody who's
Yeah.
listening, you better go check that out, because it sounds like a good time, and I wish they were coming to New York so I could. Maybe I'll just have to go to Maryland.
Thank you. Where you at in New York, Ray?
I'm in pretty well upstate. I'm near the Rochester area, so
Okay.
I'm a pretty good ways up. But, for a tour like that, I'd make the drive. Is there anything besides the Polar Express thing in the works, or is that the only
No,
thing?
just I'm going to be doing a Polar Express screening and appearance in Grand Rapids, Michigan. That is like December 14th, I think, December 14th for 5 days. Screening
Okay.
it, reading the book to the kids in schools and stuff like that. So I'll be doing that. And then there's some autograph shows early next year. It's kind of early to talk about those, but that's what I got for the rest of the year. That's
All
pretty
right.
much what I do now. I love these personal appearances. I love meeting the people because they're always so wonderful. Meeting the fans, they're always so nice. They're such a joy to meet. So it's my pleasure.
Yeah, that's great. That's amazing to hear. It's always nice to hear when the grandeur of it all hasn't gone to somebody's head, and they're still down to earth, and they're all about the fans. That's great to hear.
Oh, thank you.
Good on you. Good on you. And come next year, we'll have to get you back on the show so that you can talk about your new upcoming stuff.
It'll be my pleasure.
Sweet. Well, as we draw to the end here, I'm just going to say thank you very much again for coming on the show, Mr. Deezen. This has been absolutely amazing. You're a great guy. You made me laugh with your stories. You got some great ones.
Well, let me say something too, my last thing. This is important to me, and I hope you assimilate this. You are a super nice guy yourself, Ray. It's such a pleasure to talk to you. You're a fine person, and I hope you achieve all your dreams. I hope all your Christmas wishes come true. You're just one of the nicest guys, and it's a pleasure to talk to you. You're a thorough mensch.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. That's very flattering.
Sure.
And,
you have a wonderful holiday season, Ray. Have a happy Thanksgiving and a Merry Christmas. Or happy Hanukkah. I don't know if you're Jewish, but whatever.
I'm not.
Oh, okay.
But, that would be an absolute pleasure and dream of mine to work with you someday after, hopefully after I get to that point. So that would be phenomenal to work side by side with you.
Well, let's hope that. Let's hope we make that happen someday.
Oh, that sounds fantastic. And with that, we're going to draw the show to a close. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for coming on, tuning in, listening to how we do things around here, and having a laugh with me. I hope you enjoyed our interview with Mr. Deezen, and we'll get him back next year, and we will see you all later. That's it for today's show, ladies, gentlemen, and anything around or in between. Another great interview. Remember, I'm Ray, and this has been Breaking the Fourth Wall. Check me out at Chronicles of the Lost Realm on YouTube, Anchor, and Instagram. I can also be found on War of the Stars, a Star Wars podcast. Become a Patreon to help us provide even more content and quality entertainment for you. All of our shows can be found on Anchor.fm or wherever podcasts can be heard. Breaking the Fourth Wall is a Realm of the Mist affiliate.